What is going on, everyone? Welcome to my Week 3 NFL predictions. Last week I went an abysmal 7-9, putting my total record to 20-12. So starting off this week, we have the Patriots playing the Jets tonight on Thursday Night Football. And, both these teams are trending in weird directions because the Patriots, they're way more competitive than I thought they would be. And the Jets, they're not looking as good as I thought they would. So you might, expect an upset here from some people. But I still am going to pick the Jets. I think because it's at home and because they have a lot more talent on their roster, I think they're going to come away with a win here, 17-10. All right, our first 1 o'clock game, we have the Eagles taking on the Saints, and Eagles, oh boy, you guys choked hard on Monday Night Football last week. You guys had that game in the bag, and you fucked it up in the most catastrophic way possible. And the Saints, they put up 40 points in 2 straight weeks, so they're rolling right now. And, I was originally going to pick the Eagles. That's who I thought I was going to pick, at the start of the season when this game showed up. But, honestly, I got to pick the Saints. They've looked a lot better. It's at home. It could technically be an upset. I'm not sure. But, regardless, I'm going to pick the Saints. I just think their offense has looked a lot better. Their defense has looked a lot better, too. So, I have the Saints winning this one with the score of 34-27. Moving on, we got the Packers taking on the Titans, the Malik Willis revenge game, as Malik's on the Packers, used to play for the Titans. And the Packers able to get a surprising win against the Colts last week. And the Titans, oh man, they just keep throwing games away. They were in position to win again like they were against the Bears, and Will Levis threw a horrible interception again. He's just costing them game after game. And, this is a close one, but I actually do think the Titans are going to get their first win. Just because Malik Willis, he's not that good of a quarterback, and if there's one team that can really know how to stop him, it's going to be the team that drafted him in the Titans. And not to mention, the Titans defense is a hell of a lot better than the Colts, so Malik Willis is going to have a lot harder time moving the ball. So I have the Titans winning this one with a score of 23-19. Our next game should be a good one. We got the 2-0 Texans taking on the 2-0 Vikings. So one of these teams will get their first loss, and one of these teams will keep getting, victories piled up. And I didn't think this would be a good game, at the start of, the season, but honestly, it will be. You got the Texans, obviously, who are really good, and then you got the Vikings, who are surprisingly getting some key victories with Sam Darnold as their quarterback. So this game should be a fun one. And this is kind of tough because the Texans are on the road, but I do think they're the better team, so it's really a toss-up who you think. Because, Sam Darnold's playing out of his mind, so I don't know how he's going to play against the Texans' defense. Because, he played well against the 49ers' defense, and their defense is one of the best in the league. So you never really know with this team. And the Texans, obviously they got CJ Stroud and the gang. They're a really good team. And their defense is really good too. So I think I'm going to have to go with the Texans by a hair. And I'm going to pick them to win this one 20-17. Moving on, we got the 0-2 Denver Broncos taking on the 2-0 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Bucs are rolling on offense, and the Broncos are rolling in shit with their offense. But the Bucs look really good. Baker Mayfield looks like he's going to have another career year. They're able to knock off the Lions. I don't think anyone really expected that. And they did. The Broncos, unsurprisingly, lost their game against the Steelers. And, this is one of those games where it's extremely lopsided, and barring some kind of miracle, I think the Bucs are going to win. This is also going to be my lock of the week, I have the Bucks winning this one with a score of 30-13. Our next game, we got the Bears that are 1-1 taking on the 0-2 Colts. And if I'm being honest, these teams, in my opinion, are like complete opposites because the Bears have a solid defense with a very bad offense because Caleb Williams is struggling a lot. And the Colts, on the other hand, have a solid offense because Anthony Richardson can make some crazy splash plays, but their defense is historically bad at stopping the run so far this season. So I think this has good game written all over it randomly. I think it'll be a close one. And this is tough because I feel like the Bears' offense is going to look better this week because they're playing against a really bad defense. But at the same time, I don't know if Caleb Williams can even do that because this is also going to be, a tough environment to go into for him. Because, the Colts, their defense, I'm sure at some point they'll figure it out. And, the Bears' O-line is really bad, too. This will be by far the worst O-line the Colts are playing. So stopping the run shouldn't be as bad for them. And because of that, I'm going to actually pick the Colts to win this one with a score of 13-10. Moving on, we got another slate of 2-0 teams facing each other in the Chargers and the Steelers. Chargers able to knock off the Panthers last week in a very dominant game. The Panthers suck. The Steelers also won, obviously, they're 2-0. They beat the Broncos 13-6. And a pretty much the most Steelers victory you could ask for. And, this should be a good one. You got the Chargers who've been running the ball like crazy with Jim Harbaugh as their head coach, Jim Harbaugh. And you got the Steelers who have a really good defense, like insanely good. They've only given up like 16 points in the last 2 games, which is crazy. But their offense is, solid enough to win them games. It's definitely not great. They've only scored 1 touchdown the whole season, but I think over time that'll change. And I do think the Steelers are going to win just because I think their defense is going to give the Chargers offense some problems. And because Mike Tomlin has been a head coach longer than Jim Harbaugh, I'm going to give him the edge. Plus, it's at home. So I have the Steelers winning a close one with a score of 16-15. Alright, our first 4 o'clock game is going to be the Dolphins taking on the Seahawks. Dolphins unfortunately losing Tua for at least a couple of weeks. He's on injured reserve and there's rumors he might retire too. And then you got the Seahawks who are 2-0 who, I'm not going to lie, they're kind of overrated in my opinion. They beat the Broncos and Patriots. Those are not good teams. And I think 2-0 is kind of just, because they got lucky with their schedule. And, I don't know. They're just not that great in my opinion. And, the Dolphins, obviously, without Tua, aren't a great team either. So this game has the potential to not be super watchable. And I'm going to still pick the Seahawks just because, I think they're overrated, but I still think they're going to beat the Dolphins without Tua. Now, if Tua was playing, if he's not playing, but if he was, I might pick the Dolphins, but Tua's not playing. There's no way in hell I'm picking the Dolphins to beat this team. I got the Seahawks winning 23-20. Our next game, we got the Panthers taking on the Raiders, and this is straightforward as it's going to get. I have the Raiders winning this one with a score of 24-10, and the only way I could see them not winning is if it's some weird trap game, which is why they're not my lock of the week, because it would be such a Raiders thing to lose this game, but I don't think they will. I think they'll win this one 24-10. Alright, our next game is an NFC West clash-off between the 49ers and Rams. Both these teams underwhelming, if I'm being honest. Niners lost to the Vikings, and the Rams got absolutely blown out of the water by the Cardinals. And, the injuries have been bad for both these teams, but, oh man. I would expect the 49ers to be 2-0 and the Rams to be 1-1 at least, but no, they are both just playing down to competition. Well, I mean, it might be worse than that because they didn't even beat their said competition last week. Rams got blown the fuck out, and the 49ers got upset by the Vikings. So this is one of those games where one team will get back on track, and the other team's going to just keep spiraling more out of control. And that team for me that I think is going to get back on track, per se, is the 49ers. I have them winning this one with a score of 26-17. All right, our next game is between two 1-1 teams, between the Lions and Cardinals. Lions lost a shocker last week. Cardinals won a shocker last week by 31 points. So this is going to be a really good game, in my opinion, because the Lions are obviously Super Bowl contenders, and the Cardinals are, being extremely competitive in the games that they've played. I mean, they almost beat the Bills, and they destroyed the Rams. And, I mean, the Lions, they were able to beat the Rams, too, and they lost to the Bucs. So, a little underwhelming from them, but, still pretty solid team. And, I mean, this game could go either way. I think it's going to be really high scoring because the Cardinals' defense isn't that great, but their offense is, and I think that's going to make it a very high-scoring game. And I do think I have the Lions winning, but it could go either way. I have the Lions winning 35-31. All right, our final 4 o'clock slated game is between the Ravens and Cowboys. And I'm not going to lie, both of these teams are under huge red flags right now. Ravens starting 0-2 for the first time since, I don't even remember, I think like 2015 or something like that. So a long time, and the fact that they lost that game against the Raiders is extremely concerning. Because they were up by 10 in the fourth, and they just blew it. The Cowboys got absolutely obliterated by the Saints. They just looked horrible that entire game. So both these teams obviously underperforming. And I really don't know. I mean, if the team that loses this game is going to be under extreme fraud watch right now, because I do think both these teams can legitimately, push for a Super Bowl, but neither team is playing like it right now. And I do think the Ravens are going to win just because they have Lamar Jackson, and since the Cowboys struggled as much as they did against the run last week against Alvin Kamara, I think it's going to be more of the same. So I have the Ravens winning this one with a score of 25-20. All right, our Sunday night game is going to be between the Chiefs and the Falcons. Chiefs able to take care of business once again, beating the Bengals. Falcons in a shocking victory against the Eagles. They should probably be 0-2 if I'm being honest, but I mean, Nick Sirianni and the Eagles just suck, and now they're 1-1. And honestly, I think this game's going to be really competitive because the Falcons, I mean, they didn't look great against the Eagles, but that last drive, really could carry some momentum into this game. And the Chiefs, they looked shaky against the Bengals. I mean, it's the Chiefs, but, I mean, they definitely don't look great. And they also won't have Isaiah Pacheco in this game because he's going to be out for like 6 to 8 weeks with a fibula injury. So I think this is going to really change what the Chiefs want to do, and we'll have to see if they can execute it. And the question there is, can they? And, I mean, they will. It's the Chiefs. And I think they're going to win. It's going to be, I think it's going to be low scoring because both these teams have good defenses. So I have the Chiefs winning this one with a score of 17-14. Please prove me wrong. All right, our first Monday night game, because we got 2 of them. It's going to be played between the Jags and the Bills. Jags really struggling out of the gate. They're 0-2. Their offense looks flat as a pancake. And the Bills are not struggling. They're 2-0. They dominated the Dolphins. They had a close one against the Cardinals, but the Cardinals actually look good right now, so I can give them a pass for that. Yeah, Josh Allen, I mean, he's still Josh Allen, and he actually doesn't even have to do that much for the Bills. And the Jags, ironically, have a player named Josh Allen, too, so you could call this the Josh Allen Bowl if you wish. And I think that Josh Allen, the quarterback's going to win because I have the Bills winning this one with a score of 28-17. All right, our final game of this week is going to be between the Commanders and Bengals. Commanders able to beat the Giants, kicking 7 field goals only, and the Bengals unable to beat the Chiefs in a very close game. And, I mean, this game, Bengals, you have to win this one. There's no way in hell you can make the playoffs if you lose this game, even after starting 0-2. Because, I mean, it's the Commanders. They're not a good team. And, I mean, the Bengals haven't been playing great either, but, I mean, they did lose to the fucking Patriots, so you never know with this team. But I think I'm still going to pick the Bengals just because, like, there's no way. There's no way they start 0-3. Like, that would be extremely concerning for the Bengals if they don't win this game. So I do have the Bengals winning this one. I have them winning 30-21. I think Joe Burrow will have a better game than he has been having so far this season. But yeah, I think they're going to win. And that's going to do it for my predictions. I'm going to put all of them on a screen right about now, so you'll see all of them if you want to pause it and look. But that's going to do it. Hopefully I get a lot of these games right. Hopefully I do better than last week. 7-9 was awful. But that's going to do it. Thank you so much for watching if you've made it this far into the video. And I will see you for some Madden or some college football, one of the two.